Good morning and happy Tuesday. Thank you so much for making the time to watch this replay. All month long, I've been focusing these weekly messaging mini classes on Facebook Live. What to do before, during, and after your live to make the most of it, because Facebook Live is such a great way to share your message and truly make it roar. And I wanted to wrap up this month's theme with a live Q&A. There were some really great questions that were asked that I've answered all along the way, but there were a few that didn't fit in, or maybe they were asked after a live topic was over, and I thought they were good enough that I brought them here to this live Q&A to answer them for you here. So if you're joining me live, please say hello and let me know where you're watching from, and drop any questions that you have related to Facebook Live in the comments below. And if you're watching the replay, it's not too late. Go ahead and drop your comments, your questions in the comments, and I will come back and answer every single one. Now, for those of you who don't know me or don't know me well, my name is Carrie Price. I'm a brand messaging coach, helping ambitious service-based business owners find and own the words to stand out, be heard, and make your message roar. And I have been using Facebook Live every week for more than a year and a half to get my message out there, let people learn about me and know who I am. I've even had some high-end one-on-one clients watch a couple of my Facebook Lives, get on the phone with me, and sign up to work with me. So it is a huge way to build know, like, and trust. I am a total believer in Facebook Live. I will tell you, however, I was not always that way. I hated seeing myself on video back in the beginning. I resisted doing it, and now it's one of my favorite things to do in my marketing. So if you're not yet there, let me know what questions you have, what concerns you have, and let me see if I can help you. I've been doing this every week for over a year and a half now. So I've learned a thing or two, and I'm happy to share all of my lessons learned with you. Hey, Helen. Hey, Catherine. So great to see you guys on live with me today. Oh, Helen, I love it. She says, I'm here with pen poised to take notes. Awesome. Well, this session is mostly for you. I'm going to take off my watch. I keep banging it on the table. This session is mostly for you. So whatever questions you have, you want me to, I'm going to recap a little bit some of the things that I talked about all month long. And then you can go back and watch the replays if there's something you'd like to see in more detail that you didn't catch the first time. And I've got a couple questions that were asked that I thought were great to bring to this session. So I've got those queued up. But if you have any questions about prepping before your live, what to do on your live, what to do after your live. That's a big one that a lot of people, I think, miss an opportunity on. I'm going to give you some, again, a recap of some of the highlights here in just a moment. But whatever questions you have, whatever's holding you back from really jumping on board with doing Facebook Live and leveraging that in your business, this is your chance to get those questions answered. So let me recap some of the things I've talked about all month long. So we started the month off by talking about what to do before going live. Now, Facebook Live, the reason it's one of my favorite ways to share my message is you can be fairly spontaneous, right? Got an idea? You can jump on, press the live button, and away you go. Well, when you want people to see you reliably, consistently showing up, you want to do some things to get prepared so that when you jump on live, you can increase your viewership, your engagement, and you feel more comfortable and confident about jumping on live. So, oh, hey, Dawn. Dawn says, I'm streaming the audio through my Alexa. I have to say, I think that might be the first time I'm on Alexa. Awesome. So glad to have you here, Dawn. And thank you for letting me know that. We don't have an Alexa, but I love that you can do that. All right. So what I was saying is, so you want to get really prepared before going live, right? So again, I'm just going to recap some of the key points, but we've been focusing all month long on this. So get prepared and choose a topic. Pre-schedule it in advance and promote it in advance. Now, if you want people to be able to directly link to your Facebook Live, you need to pre-schedule it. It'll give you a URL that you can share. but then you need a third-party tool to actually go live on that same URL. This is a weird, quirky thing that Facebook does. It'll let you schedule your Facebook Live directly in Facebook, but you can't go live from that directly in Facebook, at least not yet. So I use Ecamm Live, and also this month I did a behind-the-scenes video inside my free group, The Messaging Den, where I gave you a little bit of a tour of Ecamm Live and how easy it is to use. So prepare your topics in advance, bullet points, don't script, bullet points what it is you want to chat about, and then promote it in advance. Then once you are on your Facebook Live, there's things to think about that are going to happen during the time, right, that you're on live. So I talked about in week 2, I talked about how to start your live, sort of the order and sequence of everything that I talk about to kick off a live, getting into my topic, and how to wrap up the live. So having a consistent format that you follow every time, that's again going to give people your relatable message every time. They're going to know what to expect, and there's a format. It also makes it easier for you. Like I don't have to think about how to start and how to finish my live, and then all the good juicy bits are in the middle, right? That's where I rely on my bullet points. I also gave tips on how to engage with people in the comments and how to not get distracted or lose your place when you're doing that, because sometimes that can happen. You get really engaged in a conversation that's happening because the beauty of it is it's live, and then you lose your place and you need to get back to that. So I gave some tips in the week 2 video on how to do that. I'm going to take a sip of tea. Last week in week 3, I talked about all the things to do after going live, because once you go live, that's really juicy, amazing content. Because if you've planned it, you know it's something that your market's going to care about. You jump on, you deliver the content. Don't let it die with, when you hit end on your broadcast. So I gave you tips on what to do to repurpose your Facebook Live. I talked about some of the places, some of the ways that we're repurposing my Facebook Lives in my business, and some of what we want to do. We're not doing all of those things yet, but we have the plan to start implementing that. And especially how to increase and stay engaged in the comments. So my biggest takeaway, if you took nothing away from last week's Facebook Live, is to interact and respond to every single comment that somebody leaves on your live videos. Same goes true, by the way, for all of your posts that you share on social media. You should acknowledge every single comment. And the more that you can start a conversation in those comments, the better. That makes that Facebook algorithm happy. They see that there's real engagement happening on your content. So over time, the algorithm says, hey, this is valuable content that people care about. They're engaging with it. They come back week over week to watch content that you're putting out there, and it's going to help you in the algorithm start to get seen more organically. So don't miss that opportunity. And so there were a couple other questions that were asked along the way that I wanted to share. Again, if you're joining me live, drop your questions in the comments. This session, today's Facebook Live is mostly for you in answering your questions. But I did a behind the scenes 2 weeks ago, I think it was. 2 weeks ago in the Messaging Den, I also did a behind the scenes Facebook Live giving you a tour of my video studio space and how I have it set up and the tools that I use today, as well as what I used when I was starting out. Like, you can start out with your cell phone and a headset and natural light, and you can work up from there. My current video studio setup, I think, is less than $200. So really it was about having the dedicated space, but it doesn't cost a lot to be able to produce a good quality Facebook Live, right? It comes down to lighting, sound, and video. They need to see you, hear you, and the lighting goes a long way to doing that. So if you missed that and you want to see some of the specifics of how I've got my studio set up and the tools, equipment that I'm using, you can go into the Messaging Den to see that. But I did have sort of some add-on questions that came after I did that behind the scenes video, and I thought I would drop in the question here and talk about it right now. And the question was sort of twofold. It was about the background, like what to put behind you, and I addressed that really specifically in my behind the scenes. But it was that in conjunction with sort of a couple people asked a similar comment, showing up like really casual and impromptu, maybe no hair and makeup done, especially for us ladies, right? Versus like what should you think about wearing? What should your background look like? And what are my thoughts on hair and makeup? So, hey Cheryl, so great to see you. Thank you for joining me live. If you have any questions about Facebook Live, today is total Q&A. So drop those in the comments. So I want to share with you my thoughts on having sort of a professional persona or impression that you leave with each of your Facebook Lives. Now, 90+% of the time, you probably see my Facebook Lives now from this studio. And I make a really conscious decisions about how we set this room up, what's behind me, including my branded sign, right? But, and I've talked about this before too, you'll also notice I most of the time, on very rare occasion and totally on purpose, do I deviate from this, but most of the time I'm also wearing brand blue. Like I'm wearing my brand colors. I think I have close to 20 shirts now that are in this color, similar color palette, right? In this sort of teal blue. Why do I do that? Well, the reason I do that is my videos become really recognizable. When you're scrolling through the feed, you'll recognize it every time. And my color will continue to be reinforced for you as a color to watch for me, right? Most of my images, for posts that we put out there that go with an image, are also usually in my brand blue. So it's about reinforcing what people associate with me and my brand. You're going to associate that I help you make your message roar. You're also going to start to associate with some of the visual elements. Now, I am not a graphic designer. In full disclosure, I am married to one, and we had a full service branding agency many, many years ago. But I totally value and appreciate visual brand consistency as much as I value and appreciate your verbal brand consistency in your message. So for me, it's really important that I show up branded as much as I can, right? Now, when I'm away from home and away from my studio, I'm not always able to do that, and that's okay. Those are usually more on the fly, behind the scenes, impromptu Facebook Lives. Now, let's talk about those, because sometimes I don't show up in like the best lighting. Oh my gosh, there's one video when I was a social media marketing world earlier this year. I did a video in the messaging den every night. I went live sharing like my key highlight from the day that I took away from the conference. And one night it was really late because there was networking events. I was so tired. My hair was already pulled up like in a ponytail bun on the back of my head. The hotel lighting was awful. My little travel ring light had gone out. Like, seriously, it was just bad. So I'm sitting on the floor in this hotel. Don't tell my husband because he'd be totally grossed out by that. But I'm sitting on the floor facing the bathroom so that I can have the bathroom light on, because that's the best lighting in the whole hotel room. Doing this Facebook Live. I looked tired. It visually did not look very good, but I was showing up because I committed to showing up and sharing information every day. And so many people were like, hey, we don't care about how you look, right? And we appreciate that you shared the information. So there's going to be that opportunity where you can show up, and that's just real. Sometimes, you didn't do your hair that day and you didn't put on makeup that day, but you have something you really want to share and you're going to jump on live and do it. I don't want that to stop you from sharing what you feel compelled to share. But I want you to really think about your overall brand personality. That's one of the elements of your brand message. Your message is not just about the words that you use, but it's about the personality, and it's how you want to be perceived, right? And for me, one of my brand personality traits that I value in my business, because I want to come across as the expert that you would trust, is it's professional. And it doesn't mean stuffy and corporate. I'm totally goofy. I'm a weirdo, whatever. It's okay. But I want to show up professionally and reliably. And what that means for me includes, as much as I can, I show up on branded video. So what does that mean for you in terms of like, what do you want people to know and see in your background? When I'm away from my studio, I try and at least just, if nothing else, a plain wall behind me. But if, you're minimizing distractions, you want the focus to be on you. But think about what do you want people to see when they're scrolling through their feed and they stop and they're going to recognize your video so that they'll stop and listen to it, right? They'll recognize you over time. It'll be easier for them to spot you and pay attention. Does that make sense? So let me know, because here's the other thing. So everyone talks about authenticity and just being raw and real, right? And I want you to be authentically you. This is not about portraying a fake persona or being something that you're not, right? But if you only ever go on video, this is going to sound so terrible because it shouldn't be this way, because ladies, men don't have to deal with this, right? But if I came on live every week and my hair was a mess, and like it is on days I don't do videos, I just pull it up. It's like in a little bun in the back, right? And maybe it's like a little frizzy because the humidity's been crazy this summer, and I don't wear makeup. And trust me, I prefer to wear makeup. But when you don't do that, as terrible as it is, and it shouldn't be part of how people judge you, you come across sometimes like you don't care enough to present yourself in a professional way, right? Like when I worked in an office, oh God, I hope I never have to do that. Even before starting this business a couple years ago, I had worked remotely for like 8 years, so I haven't had to go into an office in a long time. But when I did travel to the office, I dressed the part. You dressed professionally, so people take you seriously. And so that's, a long-winded way to say, like, how do you want to be perceived? And yeah, sometimes you're going to show up raw, no makeup, your hair not done, and that's okay. But generally speaking, how do you want people to perceive you? What do you want people to recognize about you? Sorry, I got distracted reading Cheryl's comments. Cheryl says, I've been wondering about this issue, so thank you. I thought I should wear branded colors for scheduled lives. Yeah, most people don't do that, Cheryl. I am very tuned in to my visual brand. Like I was sharing, I'm not a graphic designer, but I am married to one. We've been married for 18 years. We owned a full service branding agency together. So I'm locked into visual brand as well. And so I value what I know subconsciously happens over time when people associate colors with you, right? Just like they'll associate their message. So I think there's huge benefit in being branded where you can. And it might not be wearing your brand colors in your clothes. I know that some people will choose a very neutral palette. They're always wearing black, white, or gray, because then there's no specific color that is dominant for them. But my blue is very dominant in my visual brand, so I choose to use that. Cheryl says, I actually have a capsule wardrobe and it's the same colors as my brand, about 90% of it. So it's not a struggle to do it. Okay. That's awesome. I love that. Yeah. Like I said, I'm going to count. I got to either sort through the laundry and count what's already waiting to get washed plus everything I have, but I'm pretty sure I'm close to 20 shirts, sweaters, tops, whatever, variety of shirts in this color. And every time I see a shirt in this color, I buy it. It's an addiction now, but every time I see something, I grab it so that I can put it in the rotation. Because with 20 shirts, I go live every week on Tuesdays here. And then sometimes I'm going live in my group. I don't always wear branded colors when I'm doing some of the impromptu ones inside my group. I try to, though. but people notice when I'm not wearing blue. So it's one of those things where you might not have picked up on it consciously, but for Valentine's Day, I wore red and I got a lot of comments about that. So people didn't maybe consciously know I was wearing blue every time, but boy, did they know when I wasn't wearing blue. So yeah. Um, Now I have other brand colors. I have a green in my palette. I have orange in my palette. Orange is not a color that looks totally great on me, so I don't personally wear a lot of orange. And I do love that green. It's kind of a chartreuse color, but again, blue is my dominant color, so that's the one I stick with. All right, so that's my take, my opinion on, your background, doing your hair and makeup, my 2 cents. You don't have to follow that. You do what works for you, but that's why I choose to do what I do. If you've got any more questions about that, let me know. But otherwise, I think that I've probably rambled on about that one long enough. Hey, Mikkel, so good to see you. Thank you for joining me live. Okay, another great question that got asked that I wanted to, I saved for today because it didn't really fall into my tips on before, during, and after. Well, it came in really after the before, where I was talking about planning and what to talk about and all that stuff. Oh, Mikhail says, I love you in turquoise. It's my favorite color and in my branding too. Yeah, I love this color. And thankfully it looks good on me with my skin tone. So yeah, I totally love this color. Oh, Catherine. Okay, let me answer Catherine's question before I go to this other one. Catherine says, what would be a point if you do outdoor lives? Okay, so Catherine, do you mean like how could you incorporate your own branding consistency doing outdoors? You could do the same thing. You could always wear branded colored clothes. If that's something that's helpful. I love outdoor lives. I think that it you get natural light, which one you guys know is my favorite light. That's what I use here in my studio 90% of the time. I'm using the window I'm facing the window. So you get natural light. I love when you can get greenery behind you. So my backyard, we back up to gorgeous trees. So I love when I'm able to get the trees behind me, either in my yard or wherever I am, because it adds such a great, it's a great natural backdrop, but it also helps a lot of colors that you might be wearing pop off the video. So I definitely, if you can do them outside where it's not noisy, don't let the sun like hit you directly in the face, like be in shade, but exposed to natural light. I think they're great. Make sure you're wearing the headset or something so that you get good sound quality. And you could use a selfie stick. And I shared with you guys my favorite selfie stick when I did that behind the scenes in the Facebook group. So let me know if you have any other questions about that. And if I answered that correctly, Catherine, if that's what you meant. Hey, Lillian, so good to see you. It's been a long time. Lillian says, I usually wear bright, bold colors since I'm all about color. Love that. But when I'm showcasing my quilt art, I was told to dress neutral so I don't collide with the art. That's a really great strategy, Lillian, when it's just you and you can embrace being more colorful because your brand is all about the color. I love it. Totally agree, though. When you're showcasing your quilt art, wear gray, white, or black, or a neutral color, or maybe one of the dominant colors that's in the quilt. Maybe it's a quilt that's predominantly blue and you wear blue, but it's easiest if you just wear like white, gray, or black. Yeah, I love that because then the focus of that live is the quilt art and less of you, but when it's just you, bring out the color. Bring out the color. I think that's a great idea. All right, so one of the other great questions that was asked in my group that I wanted to discuss, and a lot of people talk about this, and there's a lot of differing opinions. Actually, Cheryl, this was your question, I think. You're on with me still, I hope. Is there a point to doing Facebook Lives if you don't have a group and you only have a page? Or how I often hear this question asked is, why would I go live on my page versus my group? And so I'll share with you guys my philosophy on my page versus my group and the kind of content that I put there. And this goes not just, oh, Cheryl, good, you're still here. This goes not just for your Facebook Lives, but sort of all of your content in general. But I will share with you why 90% of my lives happen on my page. Okay, yeah, it was your question. Oh, good. So generally speaking, one, you don't have to have a group. Okay, there are benefits to a group, and I can talk about that more another time, but I'll give you some highlights about the difference between the page and the group as I use them. Your page, because it's publicly accessible, anyone can see it. Now, you can limit your post and narrow the audience, but I don't know why you would, because think of your page as your billboard. It's your public TV station. It's your way for people to come and learn about you, and they don't have to belong to a group to do that, right? That's why almost all of my Facebook Lives happen on my business page. Now, I share that into my group so that the people, members of my group, can see it. I promote it in my group. I schedule events so everyone can easily find the topics and all of that. And oftentimes I do bonus content inside my group, because the purpose of a group is to build community and let people get to know you, like you, trust you even more. So you'll get good engagement on your page, especially if you do Facebook Lives. I absolutely get the most engagement on Facebook Live videos on my page, very little on regular posts. I put that content out there too. So if people are checking me out, they can see some stuff. But you'll get some engagement on your page. You're going to get more engagement in a group. Now, I'm not going to lie though, a group can be a lot of work. We've now gotten it to the point where we have a lot of engagement going on. I have a lot of posts that are scheduled so that I don't have to touch them, and neither does my VA. That allows me to go into the group and in like 15 minutes, go in, engage, really get to know people, encourage them to engage with each other, and then get out. Because we can't, otherwise I'm one of those people that would probably stay on Facebook all day. Like, I have a lot of fun engaging with people. So two different purposes, right? So I put content out on my page that helps establish me as an expert, allows me to share my message, lets people find me and learn about me. And then I want to encourage them to join my group where we can get to know each other even better. And it's a two-way conversation. If you've ever noticed, if you try and post on my page, it doesn't show up in the feed, right? But if you post in my group, everybody sees it. We all get to engage with you. So it's really about building community. Dawn, that's a great question. I'm going to come back to that because that's an excellent question. So you want to make sure you're putting content out on your page, sort of like, by the way, and all of my Facebook Lives from my page go to my YouTube channel, and people also discover me on my YouTube channel, right? So think of this as it's the opportunity for people to find you. People can share it if it's really valuable. If you find any of my Facebook Lives from my page valuable and you think others would benefit from it, I would love it if you shared it. That's a way that people can discover me and learn about the things that I might be able to help them with, right? So public, think of it again as your billboard, your TV channel. It's your opportunity to show up as an expert. Then if you have a group, that's where you can continue to build engagement, deeper relationships, and really solidify that know, like, and trust. Oh, Cheryl, thank you for clarifying. So Cheryl says the heart of my question is, if you aren't building a group, why do lives at all on your page? Yeah, perfect. Okay. So here's the second part of why you want to do your lives on your business page and why you want to have activity on your business page. When you get to the point in your business, if you're not there already, where you want to run ads to reach more people, you can only do it from your business page. And you want to have the engagement of people on your business page. So I can target ads to people who've watched my videos, but only because those videos are on my business page and people watch them. I cannot target you in an ad today anyway, if you watched a video or Facebook Live that's in my group. It's only for activity that's on the business page. So when you're looking at your bigger marketing strategy and your overall funnel of how you want people to find you and you want to be able to reach out and target more people, you need to do that from your business page. So for example, I have an audience, I'm not a Facebook ads expert, but I'll share with you a little bit about some of the stuff that I'm starting to do. I have an audience for Facebook that I can say, I want to be able to reach anyone who's watched 10 seconds or more of a video. So not just scrolling through the feed and it auto played, right? You stuck around for at least 10 seconds. So there's a group of people that I say, hey, of all the videos that I've done on my Facebook Live, you've watched at least 10 seconds or more. I can now target ads to you. And I can say to Facebook, by the way, you know a bunch of stuff about these people because you guys, they know a bunch of stuff about us, right? I created a lookalike audience and said, Facebook, help me reach more people that are like the people who already watch my videos. It's called a lookalike audience. And that's like an 11 million person group. I now can create ads that, according to the algorithm, to target people who are similar to people who already watch my videos. So increasing the likelihood that they're going to watch more of my videos, want to know more about me, and it lets me target any of my ads much more specifically. Okay. Yeah. So Cheryl, if you're going to be doing ads, you want to get that activity on your Facebook page. There's also the pixel and you can like be pixeling your website and all that stuff, but it's a really great way to see who's engaging with your content and say, Facebook, give me more of those people. Right. So that's what we're doing. So, so we launched an ad yesterday that's running through next week because I'm doing my next live masterclass next week. And I'm able to show that ad to people who watch my videos and to a lookalike audience of people who might also meet the similar characteristics. And we've narrowed that down on interests and all of that. So to show it to people who might share similar qualities and characteristics of my video watchers. What I'll be doing in the fourth quarter is an entire video campaign showing that lookalike audience very specific videos to encourage them to watch more of my videos, right? So that's why you would want to do more activity on your business page. That helps, Cheryl? Cheryl, or Mikkel, yes. Lookalike audience is what that's called in Facebook. So you create an audience and then you can say, give me a lookalike audience that's like those people. Again, I am not a Facebook ads expert. There's so many things I need to learn about Facebook ads. I just need to get to the point where I can hire a Facebook ads manager, to be honest, because there's just so many things and like the setup and all of that gets complicated. And Mikhail saw my ad today. Whoop, whoop. Yeah, we're trying a new image with the ad this time too. That's the other thing about ads is you're going to test a lot. So we're testing out a new image this time around. Okay. Cheryl, does that help answer your question about why you would, even without a group, why you would want to do all that activity on your page? In fact, Ed Troxel was my guest expert inside the messaging den last week, and he shared his tips on using Facebook Live to really stand out in the market. He is 100% on his page. He does not have a group, but he goes live every day on his page. Okay, good. Cheryl says that helped a lot. Awesome. Oh, the purple was pretty. Oh, okay, Mikhail, what was purple? I'm going to have to go back and look. Maybe her hair was purple. But I'm glad you saw the ad. Okay, so Cheryl says, and if I see any benefit to it for my customers, I'd be happy to start a group. It's just for now, I don't see it. Yeah, there is absolutely a strategic benefit to a group, but again, there's work that goes with that. And if it's not serving you and your business, it's a lot of effort. But I have a mentor that I'm in her program teaching you how to really leverage your Facebook group in your business so that it can be a strategic part of my business. So, it's not just, it's about getting to know people and, creating that engagement and community, but it is also like a specific part of my funnel too. So Oh, my sweater. Oh, Mikhail, thank you. Oh, am I using that image? I thought we were testing a different image. Now I need to know. I love that sweater. The purple sweater. Okay, cool. All right, I want to go back. Let me scroll back up because Dawn asked a great question. All right, Dawn said, I never know what bonus content to share in my group. Great question, Dawn. And again, this is also part of that overall strategy. How do you make your Facebook group a strategic part of your overall business? And I don't always do a bonus video in the group. Not every weekly topic I feel warrants something valuable enough to like spend people's time to do that. Because I value your time as much as my own. So when I'm thinking about my Facebook lives that I'm doing on my business page, and I'm outlining my topics, sometimes I'm like, ooh, this is kind of fun and juicy and behind the scenes. I'm going to save that for the group because I want there to be benefits for being in my group. And so, for example, talking about all the tools and equipment that I use and a behind the scenes tour of my video studio, or the behind the scenes, like the demo of Ecamm Live, so you could see that. I keep that stuff in my group because to me, that's like, you guys, I'm letting you in to get to know me and more details about my business and how I do it. And so those kinds of things I will generally share and save just in my group. But it can also be where you go to encourage the engagement. So for example, not many of you have taken me up on this, by the way, but all month long as I've been talking about Facebook Lives, I've let you know you can go live anytime you want inside the messaging den. I ask that you keep it like 5 to 10 minutes. If you want to be do a live that's longer than that, then reach out to be a featured guest expert. But you can go in there and practice, even if it's like turn on the live and say like, hey, I'm practicing. I'm doing my first Facebook Live ever, and I like no topic. I just wanted to go through logistics of it. So I encourage the interaction and engagement there. Sometimes I'm trying to think of some other examples. So I've done things where I might talk about a specific topic and then I say, okay, come inside the messaging den. And if you share with me your answer to that, I'll give you feedback. And the only place I'll give the feedback is in my group. I don't do that on the page. So again, I want to encourage people to come into the place where they can know me at a little bit different level. And again, those Facebook Lives are oftentimes a little more casual, right? A little less scripted. It's more of like, hey, I'm just here. I want to talk to you and share this with you. And what do you want to know? Here I am. I also sometimes do, and I haven't done this in a while actually, so maybe I'll queue this up for September. I'll do an Ask Me Anything Q&A. And it's just like, hey, do you have a question? It can be about messaging or anything you want to know about me, about my business, about my 3 crazy cats, anything. I'll do an Ask Me Anything Q&A. Again, it's an opportunity for people just to get to know you better. So anything that allows people to engage with you on a different level or that you want them to be engaging, because your groups, just like your message, are not about you. It is about them being able to get to know you better, but it's about community and engagement. It is also a really great place to be doing real-time market research all the time. You guys don't think that I'm like looking at every comment and every post that you share in my group and I'm thinking, what can I learn from that my market is struggling with in their messaging that I then can talk about that in some way, whether it's a post or a Facebook Live. I've got a whole bunch of topics queued up for future Facebook Lives because of conversations I'm watching in my own group and in others. So I want to do things in my group that encourages the discussion and the engagement so that I can do that. Okay. And now I'm catching up on comments. Sorry. Dawn says, okay, I'm so doing that on Thursday. Thank you. You're welcome. But do you then post them on YouTube even though they were your group posts? Great question. Today I do not. So Facebook Lives from my business page go to YouTube, public billboard, public TV channel, right? Facebook Lives in my group are only in my group. Now, this has also helped me get people come into my group because I do like behind the scenes, or I've shared with you guys some like hacks or tips that I have. And if I'm talking about that in another place, I'll say, oh, I have a video for that and it's inside my group. If you join the group, I'm happy to tag you on the video. And it encourages people to come to the group. They get to see that great content. And by the way, they're hanging out and they're checking out other content too. So the lives in my group, that's the only place that they live. Dawn says, I love the ask a question in the group angle. Yeah, ask a question on your, even from your business Facebook lives to drive there, but ask questions in your group. If you guys are members of my group, even if you're not engaging, pay attention to the posts that I've got. There are 3 posts that get posted every day in my group. There's a daily prompt, there is an engagement post, and then there's some sort of a knowledge sharing post that I share. But pay attention to that. Those are things you can learn from in your own groups. Dawn, you're in Fab Facebook, right? Yeah, you're in the Fab Facebook program. Most of that is I learned from that. Mikhail says, my creepy cats. Yeah, I have creepy, crazy cats. In fact, one of my cats, Jasper, the baby, he's the biggest of all 3, but he's the baby. He's only a year old. He is in timeout today. He's been getting into so much trouble this week. So he's locked in the bedroom while my other 2 cats get free reign of the house today. Mikhail says, you're really good at using that feedback and questions for your topics. Yeah, thank you so much. Yes, I want to encourage engagement and conversation in my group, but I'm learning from all of that. You guys, messaging is an ongoing, ever evolving process. You're always tweaking and fine tuning your own message based on what your market is talking about and what their struggles are. There's very specific things that I'm watching for so that I can talk about and know how to address that. You get to understand people's objections and concerns and what they think or believe, and you can show up with your point of view of that. It doesn't mean you have to like do that in every comment. When someone shares a comment, I don't have to say like, well, I don't believe that. Here's what I believe. That's not what it's about, because I don't want to stifle the conversation. I want to hear what people are talking about. I really want to understand why you think X when I think Y, right? So it's all about creating the conversation. But now, the next time I go talk about that on a Facebook Live, I'm not calling anybody out. I'm not saying like, hey, well, so-and-so said X and they're totally wrong, let me tell you. But I can show up and talk about a topic and own my point of view, right? And explain it and say, and sometimes I'll say like, look, I hear people talk about this. Let me tell you why I don't believe that to be true. And, you can really show up as an expert. It really allows you to do that. Okay. Don says, yeah, that's what I meant. Ask the offer on my live to help in the group. Yes. Put something out in your Facebook lives. Your calls to action can be to drive them into the group. You can continue the conversation. You also, Dawn, could do things, and this is straight out of Fab Facebook program. You can say like, these are 3 tips I want to share with you today. And on your business page, you share 1 and 2, and you say, I'm going to share number 3 in my group. And drive them in there. Maybe that's the one where you go down behind the scenes and there's something extra that, really feels juicy enough to be in your group. So you can totally do that too. Hey, Mitzi, so great to see you. Thank you for joining me live. If you have any other questions, you guys drop those in the comments, because this went, you guys, I had like 2 questions I was going to talk about, and we've talked like for 43 minutes. I hope this has been really valuable for you. I will stick around if you have additional questions on the things we've been talking about or something altogether. If you've hung out this long and have been watching the replay, thank you. It's not too late. You can drop your questions in the comments and I will come back and answer every single one. So because there's a delay, I'm going to hang out for just a minute here while I'm doing that, while I'm waiting to see if anybody is typing a question. And if you are, like, go ahead, keep typing, get that question in the comments for me. But I wanted to let you know, I opened up registration yesterday for my next live masterclass, which is coming up next Thursday, September 6th. There's 2 times to choose from. If you are working on putting together the perfect funnel. You followed all the steps. Maybe you're working with a business coach. Maybe you're in a program and you're executing all the steps and things just aren't working. You're not getting the engagement. You're not getting signups, maybe for your own webinar or for your freebie, and you're not converting to clients. You don't need a new funnel. What you need is to fix your messaging problem. 90% of the time, it's a messaging problem. Even the six-figure business owners that I'm coaching, who've, they've been doing this for years. When we look at their messaging, there's a disconnect that's slowing down their growth. So I want to make sure that you know how to stand out in the market, get your message heard, make your message roar. So I'm breaking down my 4-part framework next Thursday to help you do just that. It's the exact framework that I guide my clients through inside my premium program, Messaging Mastery, the Foundation. So you're going to get a sneak peek into what's involved in that program as well. But you'll walk away with actionable steps you can start applying in your business right now to elevate your message. Okay. So whether you're interested in my program or not, you're going to get super actionable takeaways. So if you want to grab a spot, go to carrieprice.com/roar and sign up for one of the 2 times. It'll be live both times. So you can bring all your questions, grab a pen, notebook, because there's a lot that I'm going to cover with you, so that you can start really fine-tuning your message and strengthening that, okay? The right words really do matter. Speaking to the right people gets you the right results. So if you're at all struggling with your marketing, don't go get another funnel. Don't even tweak your funnel until you know if your messaging is on point. All right. Catherine says, thank you for sharing. You're so welcome, Catherine. And thank you for being here with me live today. Oh, Helen. Yeah. Helen, this is a great question. I've got this queued up not to talk about today because it's a whole topic that I want to cover by itself, but it's an excellent question. I'm going to queue this up for you in September though. So Helen makes a really good point about making sure you optimize your Facebook profile, both your personal and your business page, because it's true. People are looking for that when they see you engaging online. So I'm going to do a whole Facebook Live on that in September for you. But thank you for reminding me of that question, Helen. We've got that queued up. It's true. It's frustrating when I see somebody on Facebook and I'm trying to figure out what they do and how to go find out more about them and their personal profile is a dead end. Drives me crazy too. So I will definitely be covering that and then sharing with you behind the scenes in the messaging den. I'll share with you everything that I've got in place and how we got that all set up too. All right. Okay, if there are no other questions about Facebook Live, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up for today. September will not be a theme month because I've been collecting all these really amazing questions and topics that I want to talk about that don't necessarily go together in a theme. But if you want to know what the topic is going to be every week, so you know, you can decide if you want to join me live, go to carrieprice.com/notify me. Let's see if I can find that. carrieprice.com/notify me, and you will get a message directly to Facebook Messenger. Make sure you'll get prompted to click the notify me button once you're in Messenger. And every week I'll let you know what the topic is so you can decide if you want to join me live or catch the replay. And in the meantime, don't settle for sounding like anybody else. Make sure you stand out, you get heard, make your message roar. Have a wonderful day, everybody. I'll see you next week. Bye.